The Five Nights at Freddy's movie is finally out. Only took 8 years. Yep, that's right. The FNAF movie was first announced in 2015, back around the peak of the series right before FNAF 4, a time when the series was at least grounded in its own lore. So, I have been looking forward to cautiously awaiting Five Nights at Freddy's the movie for 8 long years. Going into this, I know next to nothing. Haven't watched the trailers. I've tried to keep as spoiler-free as possible. All I know is that Blumhouse is making it, and that Shaggy is Purple Guy.
Man, it's a dream come true. Locked in a pizza parlor overnight. Like, this is so much better than a haunted house.
So, here's a script that I cooked up right after having watched the movie in cinemas. So, be prepared for spoilers. And, yeah, it was pretty alright. I was expecting worse. Five Nights at Freddy's isn't a scary film. Like, not at all. Which is a bit disappointing. But, you know what? At least it was fun. You would have expected this movie to be chock full of jump scares, considering what franchise this is. But no, there's like 2 in total. And they don't build any tension throughout the film. As a standalone movie, Five Nights at Freddy's is meh. It tries too hard to be so many different things all at the same time. And one of those things isn't a horror flick. But as a FNAF fan, generally, it was really enjoyable. The fun of things came about from scouring each scene in search of secrets and seeing how the events of the movie paralleled events from the game or book canons. As far as I can tell, the story is a mashup of the biggest plot beats within the original Quadrilogy. From FNAF 1, we have the entire basis of the franchise. Missing children's incidents, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, ghosts possessing animatronics. Our protagonist is the familiarly named Mike Schmidt, etc. If this movie were to be closely compared to any of the games, clearly it'd be FNAF 1. The biggest plot beat it borrowed from FNAF 2 was Purple Guy's drive-by murder. While it plays out quite differently to the game, we have our serial killer driving by in his nice car and essentially taking his first victim. In the game, it was the drive-by murder of Charlotte Emily outside of Freddy's. This time, it was the kidnapping of Garrett Schmidt, Mike's younger brother. The thing that holds true between the 2 cases, however, is that these incidents both seem to be the first atrocity before Purple Guy came up with his shtick. The borrowed elements from FNAF 3 were Springtrap, the Springlock suits, and Purple Guy's Springlock failure death at the end of the game. And then from FNAF 4, we have Dream Theory. Now in the FNAF community, Dream Theory was super controversial at the time of conception. However, I think everyone kind of recognizes now that it was probably correct at that stage of the franchise. Dreaming and Dream Theory are an important part of this movie. In the context of the movie, Dream Theory is essentially an idea that all the answers you are looking for are already inside your head, inside your memories. It's simply up to you to explore your dreams and uncover the truth. And that explanation is great, because to me, it sounds just like the state of FNAF theorists. If you keep looking back over the exact same thing over and over again, maybe you'll find something that completely changes your outlook on the entire franchise. Why is the tiny toy chica missing her beak? 4 games, 1 story, anyone? This dream idea, or Mike in general, is honestly one of the best parts of the movie in my opinion, and I wished they delved a bit further into it towards the end. As a kid, Mike saw his younger brother get kidnapped while he was supposed to watch him. Now an adult, he's been prescribed normal pills to help cope with his PTSD and get some sleep. And so, every night, Mike returns to the same dream, the same memory, hoping that he can figure out the identity of his brother's killer. It's a fun premise that they run with, but towards the end, it kind of amounts to nothing. But generally, Mike is a pretty well-written character. Then we have Abby, Mike's younger sister. She was fine, typical antisocial, drawing, weird kid in horror movie, and then she becomes best buds with Freddy and friends, and everything is all wholesome-like. She just kind of exists to push forward the plot and make Mike do things he normally wouldn't do. I think it's also important to mention that Abby probably has some connection to Baby. The name is an anagram, and this baby-esque animatronic suit is what they tried stuffing her into. Shaggy makes a great phone guy / purple guy. I think he did a great job giving off the whole phone guy vibe at the start, and then he returns to get spring-trapped at the end. We love Shaggy. Though I would have liked for him to show up maybe a little more consistently in the middle, because he's just kinda there at the start, and then comes back right at the end without having really built him up. We have Officer Vanessa, a policewoman with a soft spot for Freddy's, whose sole purpose is to either save someone just in the nick of time, or provide exposition. Lots and lots of exposition. Clearly, she's a reference to the Vanny of recent games, and in the movie, she is William Afton's daughter. This is also how Mike discovers the killer's identity. Not because of the whole dream thing, but because Vanessa's all like, yeah, so kinda awkward, but the killer is my dad, so yeah. Then there are the actual animatronics. These things are awesome. The animatronic models are so cool, and they should have gotten more screen time. Especially more of them being creepy. And the real star of the bunch is the fucking Cupcake. Cupcake went crazy this film. Racked up the highest kill count. And then we have the side characters like Mike and Abby's Aunt Jane, or Sam, the babysitter, and her friends. They only really exist to force Mike to make decisions that progress the plot, and they all die by the end anyways. But whatever. Like I said earlier, for FNAF fans, the best part about this film is scouring it for secrets and references. I'm just happy they didn't make the film about Fazgoo or robot children. Yet. So, while we're talking about it, let's go over the references I personally picked up on and remembered after watching the movie. First off, Mike Schmidt is the player character in FNAF 1. Now that's nothing new, I'm sure most people got that. A cool reference that I reckon some of yous missed, however, was Mike's outfit inside of his dreams, and the way Abby draws him. Green shirt, blue jeans, which may be a reference to the community's green shirt, blue jeans guy. In Shaggy's office, we have what looks like a small, locked black box on his shelf, and some certificates of completion on his wall. He also says,
"I will catch you on the flip side,"
which is one of Phone Guy's iconic lines. There's Sparky's coffee shop, where we have fucking Matthew Patthew going on about a theory, and if you didn't know, the name Sparky's is a nod towards Sparky the dog, an OG FNAF urban legend about a secret dog animatronic that would sometimes appear backstage. While the Sparky the dog legend was a hoax, here we have him hanging backstage in the movie. Here's another animatronic chilling around back. Hello, baby! Yeah, there was a spring lock suit that looked kinda like Baby, and that's pretty neat. It also reminded me a whole lot of the design of the Ella doll in Fazbear Frights 3 1:35 AM. Though it's probably just supposed to be Baby. On the blackboard in the background of Abby's daycare, there were a bunch of FNAF buzzwords. The ones that I remember sticking out to me were puppet, bear, and fox. In the credits, they played Five Nights at Freddy's by the Living Tombstone. And look at this! Special thanks to Gregory Plotkin. Did you really think you could sneak that reference past me? I bet that's not even a real guy. Gregory Plotkin. Come on. Well, I'll be damned. Still counting it as a reference though. One of Sam's friends, the one that got mauled by the cupcake, was wearing a Midnight Motorist t-shirt. Sam herself also got chomped by Freddy, which may be a reference to the chomp of '83. And the other animatronics appear where they are most associated. Cheek is in the kitchen, Bonnie's in the broom closet, Foxy's running down the hall. We also had Balloon Boy being a fucking menace just by existing. The Showtime button from Help Wanted is actually functional finally. William Afton always comes back, and that's about everything. Everything that I found / remembered / thought was relevant enough to bring up. Well, there is one more thing actually. Right at the end of the credits, we have some letters spelt out to us FNAF 2 style. They read, "Come, find me." So here's a little theory of my own. I reckon when they make the sequel, the one telling you to come find him is Garrett. And we'll follow Mike to the FNAF 2 location, where he discovers that Garrett has become the puppet. Generally, I enjoyed this movie. I don't think it's anything special, but I certainly don't think it's bad. They completely failed in the horror department, but whatever. Once again, the movie was fun and just its own little self-contained thing. Hopefully. I'm quite sure that this film is a different canon to the games and books. But then again, knowing this franchise, I'm sure it'll answer some questions or have some lore implications somehow. Maybe something to do with the Afton-Emily family dynamics or something like that. That's MatPat or Ness's job, not mine. If you're a FNAF fan, you probably liked the movie. If not, you're probably sitting there the whole time thinking, what the fuck is going on? But it could have been worse. That's about it. See ya.